What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna do this video kind of discussing the godly force of the universe and if there is one, in my opinion, and what's going on with me, and just I'm gonna say some words. Alright, so the first thing I want to say is no matter what you're looking for in life, you have to find it within yourself. And what I mean by that is, say you're looking for something specific that's material. You have to find the courage and the potential and the uh, potential for change so you can move in the direction of your own desired, capacity and what you're doing. And I got some notes here just to help me kind of stay grounded in what I want to talk about, because this one takes me into many places. But the idea, and this is all opinionated from myself, it could be interpreted wrong or right, it's up to you ultimately, but the idea of separation to me is an illusion, and that we are all connected and we are all comparable, and that the only thing that gives us the illusion of separation is differentiation of the environment and of our, of our awareness and what we do, that is like seen differently and has different standards than each other. But I think that if there is a universal connected force, geometry, reality, state of now, awareness, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to connotate it as, God, I do believe that that force is not always loving. Like, I feel like fundamentally it's dynamic and it's changing, and sometimes that force, I feel like if there is a true omnipresent force, that it is also the same force that governs all negative aspects of consciousness and of reality, and that it's not all harmonization and presence, and a lot of times it can be seen as an absence or a contradiction, and it's the polarization. So here's the all right, your camera, so here's your right, is my right too, I'm a fucking idiot. Here's your left, right? Here's the past, here's the future. I feel like right now is the omnipresent force, is the godly force, is the fundamental geometry and aspects of this awareness, and that I believe that since we are all existing within the now, that all those fundamental geometries and aspects and just states that connect us to the more present, or not more present, but the more knowledge, like more fundamental knowledge or root of the awareness, is kind of within ourselves at the same time. I feel like God, if there is one, which I'm gonna stop saying, I feel like God is a tree. This is a metaphor for it, but God's a tree, and I am like a leaf of God, or I am like if God's a root of the tree, then I am like an a like tap, like an ending point of the root. Like, I am not as prevalent and as uh influential as the godly force, but within myself I'm connected to these principles of reality, or whatever you want to connotate it as. I feel like God is harmonization, but harmonization doesn't always necessarily mean progressive or positive. Sometimes harmony is seen as, because we as humans and as an ego and as a conceptual mind, we put up differences that allow us to compare things so we can have our own standards, but in reality everything's kind of neutral and kind of just moving and dynamic and changing, and it's not always seen as a human side of like constructive progressive movement. Sometimes it's seen as stagnation, even though it's still the dynamic flow of reality. And I also believe that this force that I'm talking about is kind of the divine order and the unspoken order of consciousness, and there's many ways that the geometry of especially sacred geometry starts to reveal to the human, to the conceptual mind, that there is a lot of connected, intertwined shapes and ratios and aspects that are measurable, which is like a good thing to have knowledge of, so you can extend that into your kind of immeasurable, invisible forces that are subjective as well. I believe that we don't do things for other people or other things ever. I think that we convince ourselves and we condition ourselves to, because we always act through ourselves. I am Blaze. I act through Blaze. But I think that when we say or when we do something for someone specific in the aid of helping somebody else, or in, say, contrast, we do something to destroy somebody else or something else, I believe that it's a personal subjective interpretation and application of energy that is, like, no matter what way you try to convince it or convince yourself, that you're still acting through yourself, and whether you realize it or not, it's still kind of fundamental. When somebody applies environmental influence to you, it is up to you to let that influence govern your awareness and retain power over you. So you have to discipline yourself to, like, still ride the waves, but also not hold on to resentment and not hold on to the past or the future, and kind of realize and fundamentally, like, gather what's going on around you in the moment, so you can apply your energy in a way that you truly feel is, like, true to you. And I believe that you and I believe you are a signature force of God, and that there, even though you are comparatively kind of insignificant to, let's say, a star, or even, like, the ocean or the water, or like the president or whatever, I feel like even though we are insignificant to the grand space of everything, I feel like you're still signature to the omnipresent force that dictates all of us, because you exist within it, and you can't be replaced because you are subjectively unique, and in your subjective state you kind of breed the objective nature. So either way, I think it's true to, whenever you have a quarrel, or not even a quarrel, but whenever you have the potential to, I think it's kind of constantly, but whenever you're experiencing now and you are, like, understanding that things are going on around you, and so, like, every moment of life, I think it's very important to fundamentally understand that you are kind of living and acting through yourself within the now, connected to the omnipresent godly force that has unspoken order that we cannot quantify or define through English language, or not even English, but through human senses. Either way, I think it's inside you. You are part of the puzzle. You may be a drop in the ocean, but we need every single bit of it. And you may be a piece of a puzzle that has 1 trillion pieces, but it wouldn't work without you. So keep doing what you're doing and live through, yourself, and always retain that big ass smile on your face when you feel like it, and take care of yourself, because you, as a human, you may not always be human, I can't tell you, but as a human you are kind of stuck with your physical body, and your body will kind of react to the way that you consciously treat it. So, take care of yourself, eat well, think well, and try your best to, work with your environment through integrity, but also realize that you are you. So do what you do.